thanks. Like, hey, Scoob, did you hear Nikki Blake is hosting a Scooby-Doo panel? No. Yeah. Like on today's Scooby-Doo episode, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy meet Nikki Blake. Yeah, and a Scooby Panel. Like, we need to get this puppy started. Okay, Nikki Blake, take it away, Scooby-Doo.
Welcome to the Scooby Panel. I'm your host, Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com, and today we are talking about Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee. Before we begin, I'll have everyone introduce themselves, and Wendy, we'll start with you.
Hi guys, I'm Wendy BRYDGE. I'm a commissioned artist. I've been collecting Scooby for over 30 years, and Scooby-Dee is my favorite Scooby character. Even more than Scrappy. It's true.
Yay! Joel?
Hey there, I'm Joel from the YouTube channel Planet Scooby.
And Devin.
Hi, I'm hold on one second actually. I'm Devin Dumb Dummy Smith. And I'm an artist.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Oh, that's great. I love it.
This is my take on what Scooby-Dum would look like if he was a person.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
It is perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
I was saving that one for you guys.
So Scooby-Dum is a gray Great Dane with buck teeth who is considered dim-witted. He longs to be a detective. He lives with Ma and Pa Skillet in Hokey Swamp, southern Georgia. He was in The Gruesome Game of the Gator Ghoul, The Headless Horseman of Halloween, Vampire Bats and Scaredy Cats, and the Chiller Diller movie Thriller. He also starred in Laugh Olympics as a member of the Scooby-Doobies. He's in every intro for the Scooby-Doo show. He was voiced by Dawes Butler in Laugh Olympics and Alan Oppenheimer in the Scooby-Doo show. Scooby-Dee was an actress who had a Southern accent. She appeared in the Chiller Diller movie Thriller. She was a white dog that looked very similar to Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Dum. She had a pink collar with a heart dog tag. We may have seen her in Homeward Hound from What's New Scooby-Doo. They didn't specifically say it was her, but it looked exactly like her. And she was voiced by Janet Waldo. What are your general thoughts on Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee? Wendy?
I do really love them both. I think that it was a really fun take to just make multiple Scoobies and just like change their color and give them a new personality. I mean, what could be simpler, but also crazy effective to like bring new life into what you're doing than by just doing something like that. I love that they introduced like a female dog character and that they made her like so feminine and that like clearly she is a do, but they've given her, you know, like they've kind of like elongated her features a little bit. So she's like a little more girly, a little more feminine. And I think that's just fantastic. Obviously, pink collar, 100% love it. Scooby-Dum, very likable. I will say in maybe smaller doses, which we'll talk about this later. Yes. But yes, I do think he was a fun character. I don't think that a character like Scooby-Dum would fly today because someone would get butthurt about, you know, portraying somebody that's like dim-witted. I think that he was a super fun character, and I love that even though that was his shtick, he also is like crazy brave when we first meet him in the Gator Ghoul episode, to the point that they're making comparisons to Scooby and kind of joking about it. And he's just so driven, like he wants to be this great detective, and he goes out and he tries his best. So the dim-witted thing is not even in the forefront when you're watching him. The name obviously gives it away, but he's not a stupid character, and I appreciate that. They got the shtick with it, but they didn't take it to that level because they didn't need to. So yeah, just all in all, 2 really fun characters. Love the look of them. Love that they are Scooby, but not. Yeah, great creative choice for those.
Joel, what are your general thoughts on Dum and Dee?
Yeah, I was gonna make some stupid joke about they call Scooby-Dum like Scooby on the spectrum or something. I don't know if that joke works though, but that goes for a question later on. Scooby-Dee is legendary. Growing up, like I never saw that episode because I relied on antennas and she only appears in the one episode. But I knew who she was, but I had to wait till I was like in my 20s to actually see her because, well, you could pirate things because they never released any Scooby-Doo episode on VHS or DVD until the 50th thing that came out 5 years ago. I can do math. So Scooby-Doo has always been legendary to me. And it was great to see that episode finally, and I'm glad they finally released it. I can't really expand on what Wendy said about Scooby-Dee. She said it perfectly for me. I've heard Wendy talk a lot about Scooby-Doo, so I'd just be copying whatever she said anyway over the years. Scooby-Dum, yeah, small doses, I agree, but I loved them as a kid, and then I went into, I'm not so much of a big fan of Scooby-Dum, but when I watch the Scooby-Dum episodes, I'm a big fan, so I'm just staying a big fan now. I guess in theory, I was like, too much comedy with Scooby-Dum, but those episodes he appears in are kind of scary, so you kind of need that comedy, so I get why they did that with him, and it works for me. And I'm team Scooby-Dum, especially with Devin there with that outfit on.
Thank you.
I can't put down Scooby-Dum.
Devin, what are your general thoughts on Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee?
I mean, a lot has been said already. It's hard to say a lot about them, especially Scooby-Dee, because they're only in 4 episodes and then 1 episode. So there's not a lot of character, but I will say that they're kind of in my opinion, the best episodes of that series. Like the scariest ones, the more classic ones, they're kind of like prominently featured in the best ones, especially Gramps the Vamp. I mean, like he's like going side by side there. That whole setting is just fantastic. And I love Scooby-Dum. I love the little hat. The hat is great choice, because they could have just given him like the different color coat and like the red collar and called it a day. But I do love that they gave him a little hat. I think it like fits him. And I think you kind of can't bring up like the other like Scooby-Doo family members without bringing up Scrappy a little bit, obviously, because Scrappy's in it a lot. Well, you have to. Okay. I feel like if there's a different relationship there, because Scrappy, like Scooby-Doo has to take care of Scrappy, right? But with Scooby-Dum, for example, they're kind of just like buddies, and I feel like that companionship like works because it's like Shaggy to Scooby, you know what I mean? It's not like Scooby having to be a mentor and like take care of this little like nephew of his that he has to like take care of and stuff. It's just like it's his buddy, and they're hanging out and they're kind of goofy together, and I feel like that aspect of it really works for me, I guess, in small doses. But I feel like we got small enough doses. Like, how many episodes of Scooby-Doo are there in total? And he's only in 4 of them, plus Laugh Olympics. I feel like we got not a lot of him, but I do love what we got of him. I think he's great. So
I love that they gave Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Doo a handshake.
yes,
I think that's
for sure.
awesome. And I love that it's in the intro and it's perfect. It irritates me when people call Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Doo brothers.
It's
I
mean,
Shaggy called him his brother in the Headless Horseman of Halloween, and Fred in Vampire Bats and Scaredy Cats. They are cousins. They're not brothers. They could be brothers. They could definitely pass for brothers. But yeah, they're not. They're cousins.
Sure.
I also really like that Scooby-Dum wears a hat. I don't know why. I just think it's really cool, and it kind of sets him apart from all of the rest of the Doo family. So yeah, I definitely like that. Why do you think Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee are so popular with only being in a few episodes? And I know that this wasn't one of the questions, but it is tonight. Joel?
Just strong writing with the episodes. They're just classic, good, structured, fun, scary. They got it all episodes. And I think Scooby-Dee, I guess, was kind of maybe wanted. I know she's cousin or whatever, but there's like the romance kind of thing going on, the competition between Scooby and Scooby-Dum. That's kind of fun. I think people remember that because you don't really see that earlier on in those episodes. Closest thing, I guess, was Scooby in the Arctic episode, or not Arctic. It was Yukon. Was it Yukon? Yeah, with the dog side dog. I don't know where I'm going because this wasn't a scripted question, but yeah, just strong episodes, strong writing, and I guess with Laugh Olympics, everyone has that memory of Scooby-Dum too. Like that was a fairly popular show, and everyone kind of remembers Laugh Olympics and all the different characters like Scooby-Dum on it.
Devin, why do you think Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee are so popular?
I mean, like Joel said, and like I brought up earlier, they're kind of in the best episodes of the series. So it's like they're iconic episodes. So they're like, I don't know, every Scooby fan's different. So maybe most rewatched episodes. So like people see them often. And also it does help that Scooby-Dum is in the intro. You know what I mean? Because you see him every single episode, even if he's not in the episode. So like he has that iconic like factor like visually because he's in more episodes technically with the intro than like Scooby's parents and other cousins and things like that. You know what I mean? So like just seeing him puts him in your brain. But also they have good designs, I think. We've mentioned it, you know, but the hat and everything and like the color scheme, I feel like the little like pink, you know, I feel like they just work perfectly for the characters. And I feel like that's why they're so well remembered, is just because they just look good and they were good characters.
Wendy, why do you think Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee are so popular?
Yeah, I totally agree. They are in the best episodes for sure. Scariest episodes, which is a lot more rare in Scooby than I think we realize. There's a lot of comedic relief. So there's not, it's not too scary for the kids. So to see them in what is like definitely the scariest ones, for sure helps their popularity, I think. And plus they were something new. I don't know why I think of them this way, but it's like if you have a favorite candy and then they release like a limited edition color of it, it maybe even tastes exactly the same, but it's a different color and you want it. It's really no different, but there's just something about it's new, but it's old and it's familiar. And I feel like that is Scooby-Dee and Scooby-Dum. There's never a time where I watch an episode that they're in where it feels like they're a new character, which sounds kind of weird, but there's never like even a moment where they're interacting with Scooby and the gang where you think, oh, that was awkward, or oh, it doesn't flow right. We've never seen these characters before if it's your first time watching it, but the way that they interact with the gang and with Scooby-Doo, it's just so like effortless that they just integrate instantaneously into the story and into the gang for us. I don't think that anybody has any trouble imagining those two characters as members of the Scooby gang. They are not guest stars. They're not just supporting actors. In their episodes, they are a part of the gang. And I think that makes them very likable. I think their personalities lend them to feeling that way when you're watching it. Again, yeah, Scooby-Dum has a shtick, but he's not stupid. Scooby-Dee has a shtick. She's, the classy Southern belle and damsel in distress, but she's also not like she's not like just like some blonde bimbo dumb, you know what I mean? They didn't do that with her. And so I think that makes her character have longevity. They give her also, I mean, how random, I know it's part of the story, but also how random that they go to the awards show at the end of the episode and like she wins, a golden rover. It's so ridiculous, but it also, again, just gives credence to her character. And you're like, she's amazing. she's not just some like damsel in distress. Like, yeah, she got kidnapped and stuff, but that's not what she is. And so I think that they did a really great job with designing the characters, both physically and the characteristics of them, so that there's really very little for someone to not like about them. And the chemistry that those characters have with our main characters, as well as the voice actors, it just meshed together really, really well. And so if it works, chances are people are going to like it. And clearly they do, because yeah, 5 times, that's it. Other than in the Scooby-Doo show, that's it. And yet, yeah, people still talk about it and people still want to see more of them.
I think Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee are proof that you can make Scooby in any color and people are going to love it.
It's true.
Yeah.
And at the award show is cool because Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Doo dressed in like tuxes and they looked very handsome. So
They did.
yes.
Yeah.
I like that. I thought that was cool. I don't know. I never used to like dogs dressing up in clothes, but I don't know. It's fine if Scooby-Doo does. He does it so often, it's almost like he looks weird without clothes. So
For sure. When he takes his collar off, even, it's weird.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
weird. Yeah, I agree.
do you think they could have been recurring characters in the franchise, and why or why not? Devin?
This was like a tough one. I think that they definitely could have. Wendy brought this up already in the beginning, maybe in the 70s and 80s, but today I do think that people would have a problem with him being dumb. Like, I know there's plenty of like dumb characters in media, but his name is dumb, so like I do think that that would be a bit of an issue. But regardless of that, as characters, I do think that they could have like longevity, just because they can be used, they like in the episodes they're used in a way that isn't overbearing and isn't annoying and isn't like overdone. They're balanced out well, because like we talked about, they're in some of the scariest episodes, so like dumb being in those episodes balances out that comedy and the scariness really well for kids. So I do think that that works really well for the franchise, because that's what the franchise is scary and comedy, you know, it's horror comedy. But I do go against thinking that they would last, because sorry, Wendy, the scrappy effect, I'm just going to call it, of him being in the franchise so much and so prominently, people starting hating him over the years, and like he's got this negative thing with him. I wonder if these two were like in the maybe not Dee, because she's kind of just like, she's not very overbearing, but Dumb, I could see if he was in it a lot, and very like the more he's in it, the more they're going to push him and put him forefront and probably give him like his own spin-off show and all this nonsense. And like that, I don't think that it would work now, because people would start hating him if he was in it more. So I do think that we could have got maybe like a couple more seasons of him in the 70s and 80s and it would have worked. But I think that if he was constantly in it throughout this time, it would be too much and people would be annoyed and hate him just like they hate Scrappy. So
I would have loved to have seen them in Pup Named Scooby-Doo. They would have been so cute.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wendy, do you think they could have been recurring characters in the franchise?
I actually agree 1000% with everything that Devin just said. That was going to be exactly the same argument that I was going to make, which is, yes, Scrappy is a great example of how Nikki won't like how I'm going to word this, but there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. And also, when you see them too much, the joy of it wears off. It's like when Christmas rolls around and I put all my decorations up and it's like my favorite thing to do. It's my favorite time of year. And every year I think I could just leave them up forever. But you know what? It would lose its magic if you left them up forever. Now, Nikki's Christmas Scooby tree is a whole other thing. It does not apply to what I'm saying. Okay, that can and should stay up for all of eternity. Just want to make that clear. But no, characters like that, they are something special. They're like a limited kind of thing, and it makes you excited to see them. When you start making it a regular thing, the excitement is probably going to eventually wane, and it's just, you know, unfortunately when stuff like that happens, you do end up with like character hate, and you're like, well, what are you even hating them for? Just because you're seeing them too much, you know? And I don't think that people even know why they hate characters sometimes, other than it's like, this is not my core gang. Why are you here? Why are you cluttering up the Scooby Gang? And I do think that that is what would have happened. I think that if the Scooby-Doo show had made another season, they definitely could have gotten away with maybe 2, maybe even 3 more episodes where Scooby-Dum was like a guest player on it. I'm, as much as I hate to say this, I'm struggling to think of how they could have incorporated Scooby-Dee in anything other than that one single episode that she was in. Because all we get to see is like her day job. She doesn't really do anything. She doesn't add anything to what the gang is doing. She's just like some kind of like, she's pretty eye candy, and she is like a plot device, but she's not really doing a whole lot. Does that mean that they couldn't have in another episode expanded on her? I guess they could have, but again, I'm even, as my favorite Scooby character, I'm even struggling to just imagine, well, what could they have done with her? What could she have added to the Scooby Gang? What would she be doing? I really am struggling. I can't, to be honest, I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything. So while I'm sad that she's like a one and done character, she's a one and done character for me. Yes, Devin.
I have an idea. I have an idea. Well, she's a movie star, so I feel like she would have done good in a series like the new Scooby-Doo movies or like Guess Who, where it's a lot of celebrity guests. And if she was in, maybe not every episode, but episodes where there's actors involved, maybe she knows them or whatever, and that's how they have the in with them. Maybe she knows people that like do like makeup effects. So the makeup effects person she's with is like, that's definitely a mask, like a guy in a mask. And like, I don't know, stuff like I feel like you could incorporate her in a series of that caliber where they're meeting celebrities and actors often. But in a regular series, I agree. I think that she doesn't, as much as I do like her character as well, she doesn't bring like a lot to the table. She's kind of there as a plot device.
Yeah.
Because would the episode, like, because she's only, the only episode she's in, Scooby-Dum is also in. So like if you take Scooby-Dum out of that episode as well, I guess it would still work as just a regular episode, but I feel like she's not as strong of a presence, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
No,
didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that was
Just had an idea. I just had an idea.
No, that's totally true. And I could maybe, I mean, obviously she wasn't around yet when the new Scooby-Doo movies was out. But I mean, she could, like, I could imagine her in the Sandy Duncan episode being around, you know, and she wouldn't have to do a whole lot. Just her being there would add to the story and like the ambiance of like, oh my gosh, there's more than one do around and look how pretty she is. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. That is something that she could have done. The other thing that I kind of think would have maybe worked for her, I think that she could have potentially, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't know, this is, I've been hanging around with Scott too long, so like everything is a mashup in my brain now. But Scooby-Dee with a female character from a different show, like Pepper from Clue Club or something like that, and pair them and make a Scooby spinoff where it's the two girls going out and doing that. That is something that I could have definitely gotten behind. I wouldn't really want to see that today because Hollywood's idea of what a strong female character is today is very different from my ideal of it and what I think we had in the 60s and the 70s and a little bit into the 80s, where it didn't have to be so overbearing. Today it's like, it's a very like in your face presence, and I don't think that's necessary. But like Pepper and Dee going off and doing something that I think could have been a cool spinoff that probably I don't think it would have overstayed its welcome if it got like a full 13 episode season or something. I think that would have been like a fun thing. I don't know that I would want to see Scooby-Dum without Scooby-Doo. I think Yabba-Doo and Scrappy worked on their own. For me, Scooby-Dum without Scooby doesn't work. I don't think I would have wanted to see that. And I don't know that I'm afraid that even as like a spin-off or something on his own or with other characters, he totally would have suffered from the Scrappy effect, where immediately people would have gotten, fed up or just irritated with him, maybe without even realizing it at first. And then all of a sudden they're like, I don't want to watch this anymore. This is just like, it's bothering me. But yeah, so I do, as much as we love them and we all talk about, oh, it would be great to see them again and see them do other things, they wouldn't have, I don't think they would have the longevity that they do, which is ironic. I mean, one episode, how do you still remember? But I think it's because it was just that one episode that we still talk about Scooby-Dee and we love her so much. And I'm glad that we didn't let those characters overstay their welcome to where we have like a negative connotation towards them instead of just like 100% love pretty much across the board.
Less is more,
Yeah.
And I slightly on topic, but off topic. I don't know how you guys feel about this within the franchise, but it's on topic. The less is more thing. It's like there's such great characters in the franchise that you love because you don't see them that much. But like, and I appreciate seeing them a couple times throughout it, but like the more I see like Spooky Space Kook and like the Creeper and stuff, and I'm like, I get it. Like I know that they're characters, like they just keep like putting them in stuff and I'm a little bit over it. I'm like, I get it. You don't have to do the fan service. Like give us anything else but stuff from like, Where Are You? Like I get it at this point. You know what I mean? And I feel like it'd be kind of the same way with D and Dumb if they like kept including it. You're like, okay, like, I would like to see them maybe like one more time, like if they did like a movie or something, or like something simple, like a one-off. That'd be about it, I think. It would be good.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I think your idea of having Dee on Guess Who would have made more sense than these random people coming on and being like, oh, I knew Shaggy or I knew Fred. Like, no, you didn't. There's no way.
Yeah.
Scooby-Dee would have been a great, even if she was only there to introduce them and then let them go off to do their thing, it would have been a much better way to bring on the guest stars.
Mm-hmm.
Joel, do you think Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee could have been recurring characters?
No, I'd agree with what everyone's saying too. I was thinking like Devin, a movie would have been nice. I think that's a good way to bring them back. But yeah, like less is more, like Devin mentioned. There was no really place to go with them either, because you had one other season of Scooby-Doo show, and then you had the Scrappy episodes, and I think you could have worked maybe Scooby-Dee into that. So they were in Hollywood the one episode with the roller disco neon phantom, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they could have squeaked her in there, but I don't know. I think she'd fit better maybe in that horror movie award episode they had. Would probably been cool to see her there, where she's in that mansion and there's that demon thing, and wouldn't mind seeing her there. But I think Scooby-Dee's kind of like sometimes steals the role of Daphne and that she gets kidnapped. So I think the plot would be maybe Scooby-Doo getting kidnapped again, and I don't know. She's a pretty dog. I'd want to steal her.
It would get old if they just kept kidnapping her, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
She
Yeah.
doesn't have like she doesn't really have a lot of personality, So
No.
it's kind of hard to like give her a plot device, like
Yeah.
something to do in the plot.
Scooby-Dum, when you mentioned pup named Scooby-Doo, Nikki, I mean, that would be great. That'd be awesome. Just an open question to everyone. Do you think Scooby-Dum appeared in a Scrappy, like a short episode? Would that work?
I don't think that would work for me.
I think that they're too big of personalities. Like Scrappy's personality and Scooby-Dum's personality mixed with Scooby and Shaggy also in there. Like that's a lot of like high energy stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I agree that it would clash with Shaggy and Scooby in it too, but I could imagine some of like just the 7-minute shorts, the ones where they really like, here's a Minotaur, something, or here's Bigfoot. I could imagine some of those episodes as being just Scrappy and Scooby-Dum. And I do think that that would be an interesting character dynamic between the two of them, because they're in a way, they're kind of the same, but different. Because Scooby-Dum kind of only gets scared when Scooby does. It's
Yeah.
like if you don't tell Scooby-Dum that he should be scared, he's not. So for him to be in a situation with Scrappy, I mean, I could imagine, like, the NyQuil episode is my favorite, and that's not a short. That is like season 1 of Scrappy. I could imagine Scooby-Dum being in that story, and I think it would work. I don't know that we need it. And maybe it's hard too, because when I think of Scrappy, even though the season 1 episodes are my favorite, Scrappy is my favorite when Dawn takes him over because his character changes so much. So maybe Scooby-Dum with original Scrappy, not so much, but I don't know, maybe he would have tempered that more like irascible Scrappy. Maybe Scooby-Dum was what he needed.
Do you think that that Scrappy would just be irritated by Scooby-Dum? Like, I see Scrappy punching Scooby in the face and just being like, yo, shut up.
But Scrappy doesn't get like that with the gang though, or with Scooby. It's just with strangers.
My mind has kind of been changed instantly here. I do think it will work, actually, because I feel like, because Scrappy's whole thing is he wants to go fight the monsters. You know, he's like, let me go fight him. And Scooby is there to, like, save him and stop him from going to fight the monsters. I think that Scooby-Dum is dumb enough where he would just let Scrappy go fight the monsters, and it would kind of, like, be a different dynamic in that way. And I think this is what we need to do, not us, Warner Brothers. This is how you bring Scrappy and Scooby-Dum back, is we need a road trip style movie where Scooby-Dum and Scrappy are going to visit Scooby-Doo. Like they're on the way to go visit the gang at wherever they're located, and it's them traveling whatever, however, and they're getting into hijinks along the way, and maybe they're like very quick little like, we're like, oh my god, there's a mystery at hand, and like Scrappy like instantly takes off the mask because Scooby-Dum lets him or something. And so like the mystery's solved, and there's maybe like 3 or 4 of those throughout the movie, and then they get to the like the Scooby gang, and then maybe there's like a final mystery that's actually to be solved. I don't know. That's how you bring them back.
This is all a terrible idea.
Great idea.
First of all, some of us don't want Scrappy to come back.
I think Wendy and I would like it very much.
I would, yeah. I'm on board.
Well, do you see the chaos that you're causing?
We should, okay, how about this? Live action Scooby-Dum movie. I play Scooby-Dum and I'm wearing this exact outfit only. Nothing else.
Joel,
There.
I'd like you to answer your own question.
Please.
Well, I think Wendy sold me on the NyQuil episode because I'm thinking it's got Sherlock in it, and Scooby-Dum's idol is Sherlock.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also thinking because they got the comedy factor of Scooby-Dum, they could crank up the spookiness of that episode even more.
Yeah.
It's already a spooky episode, like just given like where we're going with AI, where they were kind of talking about AI back then, where we're going now with that and virtual reality. So I think it would have been like a legendary episode if it had Scooby-Dum in it. But yeah, I too could probably see him in the short, like with the Minotaur and Scrappy. I think that would be an interesting dynamic. I think he'd probably work better than Yabba-Doo. I don't love the Yabba-Doo episodes. I get them. They're Westerns. But I didn't feel Yabba-Doo had much of a personality, where I think... Actually, I just don't like Dusty at all. I really shouldn't say anything about Yabba-Doo. I just hate Dusty. But I would love to see, I think Scrappy and Scooby-Dum might work. Just if it's a one-off here and there. I wouldn't want to see a lot of it.
Yeah.
I think Scrappy would get along with Scooby-Dum a lot, because Scooby-Dum would just be like, go ahead, let's go after this thing.
Yep.
And I think Scrappy would end up holding Scooby-Dum back a lot of times. Like Scrappy would have the voice of reason, I think.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think I love it.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm 100%
Yeah.
in.
Moving on. What would you have done differently with Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee? Wendy?
Nikki's not posting this panel. Okay.
You know what? Apart from what we just discussed, which I absolutely, we need a petition for this for sure to make that happen. Like redo the Night Ghoul episode, especially with this. I would not change a single thing about them. I really think that like the Scooby-Doo, Where Are You season 1 and Scooby-Doo Classic, just in a nutshell, was lightning in a bottle. Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee, the way that they were, as much as they were, was also like lightning in a bottle. I cannot think of any way that they could have been improved on. I don't think that their episodes could have been improved on. I think that they were very well thought out and they served their function and their purpose beautifully. And there's nothing that I can think that I would want to change about either of them.
Joel, what would you have done differently with them?
The only thing I'd do is go back, rewrite the script so they said cousin versus brother for Scooby-Dum.
I like that idea. Devin, what would you have done differently?
Nothing.
Like,
I like, you know what? I kind of like the mess ups with the brother cousin thing. I think that's what I think that's why I go to old Scooby-Doo is it's just got so much charm. It's just, there's so much charm with the characters and the settings and the animation, everything about it. And the flub ups are what make it good. So I'm here for it. I like it.
Yeah. And they do both in the same episode in Headless Horseman. They call them both.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it's like, oh, it's Scooby-Dum, Scooby-Doo's brother. And then later on, when Scooby walks into the mirror, he's like, Scooby, that's not your cousin. So like, guys, it's one script, one episode. What happened? Maybe if we were going to change one thing, we could somehow, I mean, it doesn't really bother me, but maybe somehow we should like work out the whole like, are you my biological cousin? So should I have a crush on you?
Well, they're animals.
Should we be kissing? I don't. Maybe we could tweak that. I don't know how, but maybe we could like address that. Maybe that could be the one thing that we look into changing.
yeah, the whole kissing cousin thing needs to go. I know they're animals, and maybe it's acceptable in the animal world, but they talk, which makes them a little bit more human. So, yeah.
Or they should have at least introduced her parents as like being related by marriage as opposed to blood. Because there's lots of Great Danes in the world just because it's a Great Dane. Now, I see, in my opinion, the reason that she is the cousin and yet they also did the love triangle thing is because she's a Great Dane. It's like, you know, it's like people are like, oh, you live in Canada. Do you know William Shatner? Like, no, I don't. Canada is the second largest country in the entire world, landmass wise. I have not been outside of like my province as far as like Canada goes. I've been to where Joel is like once in my life and I'm almost 40 years old. No, I don't know everybody that lives in Canada. So not every Great Dane is actually related by blood, but they look the same. So it's easy to be like, oh yeah, that's my cousin. I mean, like literally when my dad and I drove a PT Cruiser, they were so rare that anytime you saw one driving down the road or you saw one in the parking lot, if it was the same color, if it was another black one, I'm like, oh, there's our brother. If it was a different color, I'd be like, oh, there's our cousin. Like as stupid as that is. So I think that it was an innocent thing that they did with the Dews because they all just happened to be Great Danes. But maybe we could address it anyway.
I don't think I think they don't need to address it and over explain it because it'd be really weird if they were like, Shaggy, if Shaggy's like, Scooby, this is your step uncle and his daughter from another marriage. Like, it'd be really weird. Like it'd be really weird to do that. You know, I just don't think that would work. I don't think they need to do that.
Oh gosh.
That would make it a little weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The one thing that I would change is Scooby-Dum's name because I don't like that they call him Scooby-Dum. It really annoys me. But Wendy has some mind-blowing stuff to say about that. So
Okay.
Yeah. So Nikki and I both had like a oh my gosh moment. Thank you, Scott Geralds, who was like, yeah, Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Mm.
I'm like, what?
Huh.
What? 40 years on this planet? Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Who knew? Who knew this?
I do think that joke would make more sense if Scooby-Doo's last name was D. Just for the, you know what I mean? Just for what Tweedledee and Tweedledum are.
Scooby would be weird as Scooby. Yeah, no,
Yes.
I can't even say it.
As far as characterization goes, you know. But that's interesting. I've never thought of that in my life.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
No, I never put that together until Wendy said it, and then I'm just like, no, that's not possible.
And is that an accident or is that on purpose?
I don't know. That is going to go down, and that should have made the Scooby folklore book, I think. It's like, was that on purpose? Did somebody do that, or is it just happenstance and it's like a Bob Ross happy accident?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll never know.
Final thoughts on Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee, Joel?
I just had another question. Scooby-Dee's or Scooby-Dum's catchphrase. Does he have two or is it one?
That's what I was going to bring that up as well. What do you mean two, though?
Is it like the V for Victory song? Like dun 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 dum, or is it dum da dum dum? It's the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I believe so. Is it just only that one?
Didn't know it was either of them. I thought it was just his own thing.
Yeah, dum 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 dum. So that's
that's like what you play at, like when something. Oh my gosh, something scary's afoot. Dun 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 dun. You know.
Wow.
That was the victory song for Britain because it's Morse code for V. ... dash. But
didn't know that.
No. But I kind of was thinking, was it the other one? Dum dum.
It's
dum,
definitely
dum,
boom 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 boom.
Yeah. Okay, that's my final thought.
Boom 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 boom. That's what he's doing.
The hat, the ears, like the way you're making your mouth look when you're doing that. It's
what are they
perfect.
doing? I mean, you can't say it another way.
So excellent job.
Can't change his name because then the theme.
Exactly. Thank you.
ruined.
That's what I was just gonna say. I was like, it works perfectly because it's like it's his name, and it's kind of like it's kind of like a fourth wall break in a way because like that's the music that should be playing in the background when there's a clue, but it's like he's saying it himself, and it fits with the campiness of the character, and I think it's great. I like it.
Yeah. Devin, final thoughts?
I just love it. I love everything about it, and I wouldn't change a thing, except for there needs to be a road trip movie that you get it. That we need that. We do need that, and I want to play him. Everything else can be animated, but I want to be the live action Scooby-Dum in that, and then we're good.
Okay. All right. Wendy, final thoughts?
What we do need is more merch for Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Dee. No, Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee. See, I'm stuck on the song. I'm stuck on it. I'm having a problem right now because now I'm also picturing the way that he does it. It's like a V2 where he goes like this. Yeah. More merch. That's all I can say. More merch.
If they made hats with his actual ears on them, though, I think that would sell. They could sell that at like Spirit Halloween. They could do a Halloween costume or something.
Yeah. I think we need more merchandise with Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Dum, and Scooby-Dee. Like all three of them together, like a figure pack, or put the three of them on a shirt, plush, a cookie jar with all three of them. I think we need that.
Of course, toothbrush.
Yeah, right. I just think it would be cool. Like there's the Dino Astro Scooby cookie jar. Why wasn't there ever a Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Dum, Scooby-Dee cookie jar?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I would ship Scooby-Dee Daphne merch too. Because there is, I mean, the one thing that I think kind of gets overlooked in her episode is that there's a moment where like the lights are going out on the train and they're being chased around. Scooby-Dee jumps into Daphne's arms and they do the Scooby and Shaggy pose, only it's Daphne and Dee.
True.
I think that was like brilliant. I mean, I don't know what we would do with them, but I want to see them together on something. A t-shirt, I don't know, something.
Yeah, that would be fun. All right, we are going to wrap things up. Before we do, let everyone know where they can find you on social media. And Wendy, we'll start with you.
On Instagram, I'm at Wendy Bridge. On Twitter X, I'm Wendy Loves Jesus. And my blog is wendylovesjesus.wordpress.com.
Joel?
You can find me on YouTube. Just type in Planet Scooby.
Devin?
You can find me on all the things. Look up Awesome Thanks and you'll find me somewhere, mainly Instagram, awesome__thanks.
And you can find all my links on ScoobyAddicts.com. Let us know what you think of Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee. And thank you for joining us for another Scooby panel.
Boom, 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 boom.
Thank you for tuning in to another Scooby panel. I'm Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com. If you like these panels, please subscribe to my channel for more great discussions. A huge shout out to our patrons, Julie Rosen, Ross from ScoobyFan.net, Tagus, Garrett Spencer, Paul the Scooby Dude, and Jesse. If you would like to support the Scooby panel, please go to patreon.com/ScoobyAddicts. A very special thank you to artist, blogger, and Scooby collector Wendy Bridge, Joel from Planet Scooby, and miniature artist Devin Smith. Scooby Panel is available in podcast form on most podcast platforms or as a web series on YouTube. You can find Scooby Panel on Instagram, Facebook, and X as @ScoobyPanel. We are part of the Collector's Maze Network, where you can find all things geek. Scooby and Shaggy were voiced by Scott Innes. Check out Scott's website, onescottshop.com. Scooby Addicts artwork by Will Davenport. Scooby Panel logo by Garrett Spencer. Video editing by Nikki Blake. Music composed and performed by Bovine Nightmares. Please join us next time for another Scooby panel.